Hello, dear friends. When a rope becomes too tight, there comes a moment when it inevitably breaks. We don't know when that moment will come, although all signs indicate that the rope is gradually fraying until it snaps. But the orchestra conductors are trying to do it in slow motion, so that everything doesn't suddenly go to pieces, because abrupt changes are not good for anyone, and that explains the slowness of the process that makes us so impatient. Opinion article. Near the breaking point. How much longer will stability hold? A bank spoils the party for stockbrokers. Remember that we are very close to the breaking point. Premature change would be disastrous for the economy. Treasury coupon debt rises at record pace. Plans are underway to overhaul the old financial system. The state artificially stimulates the economy to maintain the system. U.S. aircraft carrier returns to disputed South China Sea. Let's start. A bank spoils the party when it reminds traders or brokers that we are very close to the point of bankruptcy or breakup, according to Tyler Durden of Zero Edge. The only question is how much longer the stability of this performance will persist. Because if Deutsche Bank rate strategist Stephen Thunk is correct, the next move in yields is on the way. The break is to violently separate parts of a whole, undoing the union. To reform is to modify something, usually with the intention of improving it. To transform is to transmute something into something else. The third alchemical option is always the ideal and most desirable in any situation of change, because it is the least traumatic possible. But life is full of shocks, which we do not always control. It's not a path of roses, but of thorns. According to Inversiopedia, the breakpoint for Lloyd mutual funds is the dollar amount for the purchase of the fund's shares that qualifies the investor for a reduced sales charge. Breaking points offer investors a discount for making larger investments. The purchase can be made in a lump sum or by staggering payments within a specific time of period. Definition. The Cambridge Dictionary defines the breaking point as the stage in which a person, company, system, etc. loses control over a situation and can no longer cope with its problems. When the breaking point is reached, if something or someone has reached the breaking point, it has so many problems or difficulties that it can no longer cope with them and may soon collapse or be unable to continue. In human psychology, the breaking point is a moment of stress when a person collapses or a situation becomes critical. The intensity of environmental stress necessary to cause this varies from one individual to another. Psychoanalysts believe that everyone has a potential breaking point in life, with particularly intense vulnerability in the early stages of development. Some psychoanalysts say that rigid personalities can withstand great stress before suddenly opening up. We all face a breaking point from time to time. Successful people do too. No one is immune to ongoing stress or anxiety. However, learning to overcome a breaking point is crucial to success. Everyone has a breaking point. Denying it can be dangerous. The sooner you recognize the signs, the sooner you can do something about it. Just when you feel it's time to give up, know that at that moment you are at the breaking point. It's that instant that happens before you make something great happen, where you quit just before it's going to happen. When you can and should become a master at mastering that kind of situation, because you can survive when it happens, and you can excel. The problem is not falling down, but not knowing how to get up. According to David Gemmell, every human being has a breaking point, no matter how strong his spirit. Somewhere deep within him there is a flaw that only the fickle cruelty of fate can find. Inflation and reflation. Price indexes around the world appear to be registering a rebound in the first months of 2021. After a year marked by falling prices and with interest rates at record lows, market attention is now focused on a hypothetical return of inflation. Since March, the Federal Reserve has steadily modified its monetary policy to address the economic effects of the health crisis. The Fed has chosen to make constant modifications to its monetary policy to deal with the economic effects brought on by the crisis. To accomplish this, it has sharply reduced the country's interest rate and increased its monetary easing program. Reflation is a scenario where the state artificially stimulates the economy in order to overcome a recession. Fiscal and monetary policy is used for this purpose. The objective of reflation is to create inflation through fiscal and monetary stimulus, for fear of going into deflation. The government's stimulus can come in the form of an increase in the monetary base or a tax cut. Both actions cause the population to demand more products and services. Outstanding debt. Then reminds us that the amount of outstanding Treasury coupon debt is increasing at a record pace, and every quarter the Treasury is adding more than 650 billion in a new debt to replace Treasury bills issued last year and to support new stimulus spending. The math is, to put it mildly, staggering. Even with the Fed buying substantial amounts, the amount of coupon supply left for private investors is staggering, and will only increase further once the Fed begins to reduce its purchases. All of that begs the question, who will buy all these treasuries? Ask them rhetorically. Households have assumed that an increasingly important role in Treasury bond ownership, accounting for nearly half a total net issuance between 2017 and 2020. In Spain, Treasury notes represent Spanish government debt that matures in less than 18 months and was issued at a discount. In bearer form and using a simple discount financial law, they were therefore part of the various Treasury securities available to the state to finance the public debt, and were issued at a price lower than the nominal value. In this case, they were issued at a lower price than the nominal value. Thus, when they were sold, a profit was obtained from the difference between the two. On the other hand, since they were bearer bonds, it was now obligatory to identify the holder. All-time high. At a look at the Wall Street S&P 500 index, which closed Monday at a new all-time high, well above 4,000, suggests that after a period of trading, traders once again do not have a worry on their mind. They are railing in recent days in mega-cap tech stocks as worries about higher rates are fading. Bloomberg's Jexie comments on the market's resilience and the willingness to move higher even amid higher yields, nothing that after nearly 1 million jobs added, Treasuries barely changed much in the past 2 days. As he points out, that perhaps suggests there is a lot of bad news for bonds in the price. After all, markets have now factored in 4 rate hikes throughout the end of 2023, when the Fed indicated it plans to keep rates unchanged throughout. And with yields stagnant, the dollar's recovery also appears to be losing some momentum. And given that the index sits right at the 200-day moving average, as for equities, Xie notes the stability of yields allows for some respite as stock benchmarks hit new records. Risk. The risk, however, as Janet Yellen pointed out on Congress last week, is that too much treasury debt owned by households could crowd out other forms of protected investment and private spending. This means that over-reliance on any one sector to buy so many treasuries and potentially exceeding its natural limit could also spell trouble for the future. Then points out that the bank's model suggests that the increase in coupon issuance since last year has lifted the 10-year yield by about 48 basis points, although about 30 of that is being offset by the Fed's $80 billion per month patches. The question is what it's all about, and when does the market realize that modern monetary theory is nothing but nonsense? Thing doesn't have the answer, but writes that looking ahead, the Treasury will soon do another review of coupon issue sizes compared to current funding needs. Expect the spotlight to be on their decision in a few weeks. Hopefully, they can pull another magic money tree out of their hat, or at least a rabbit. Puff said, the successful fund efforts you are waiting for will not be assured until the elimination of the old fiduciary system, or fiat system, is complete, and the quantum financial system is in place. There are thieves and there are thieves. Premature distribution would be disastrous and a very perverse act if the funds fell into the wrong hands. Plans for the overhaul of the financial system are fully underway, and Gisara's staff has some highlights that can make life much more comfortable. It won't be for a while yet. There is still a while to go. The cleanup team is in the middle, and nothing can alter that mission in any way. Absolutely nothing. It's important to be part of the solution. Much is being done despite the lack of updates, and there are many efforts underway. This is the good news. We can assure you, be at peace with the efforts, because all of this that Biden has been doing will be renewed when necessary. The Democratic Party has lost its balance and is out of favor with those who control the system. Economy. Stocks rise on recovery prospects. Asian stock markets rose Tuesday as another set of strong economic data bolstered the global outlook, while currency and bond markets paused for breath after a month of rapid gains in the dollar and treasury yields. Wall Street bets on US debt. Like many other low and middle income economies, South American countries are going throughout a wave of indebtedness. To this end, in addition to resorting to multilateral credit organizations, they are issuing debt, which is increasingly attractive to speculative capital. JP Morgan equates Bitcoin with gold and boosts its potential. The big Wall Street firms continue to join the Bitcoin fever. JP Morgan sees in the cryptocurrencies a growing alternative to gold and triggers the new ceiling set for Bitcoin by equating its investments with those of gold, reaching a level of $60,000. Bitcoin's dominance declines. Its current share of the market is the lowest in the last 2 years. The market capitalization of cryptocurrencies surpassed $2 billion threshold this Monday for the first time in history, growing by 4% in 24 hours. According to the CoinGecko portal, the capitalization of the world's leading cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, has reached 1.09 trillion, occupying trillion or billion, I'm not sure, 54% of the total cryptocurrency market. Facebook, Google, and Microsoft at all times highs. The bullish day for the stock market, with technology at the forefront, saw 3 major players break their all-time highs during the session. Google wins the battle of the century against Oracle for the right to use Java. The Supreme Court put an end on the multi-million-dollar dispute between Google and Oracle that had been going for more than a decade. It awarded Google the victory in a case over the use of some elements of Java code in the development of the Android operating system. The court decided by a majority vote 6-2 that the use of Java in Android was legitimate. Fed's proposed ban on foreclosures until 2022. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on Monday proposed banning foreclosures until 2022 as many families risk losing their homes and federal protections expire during the health crisis. The proposal involves preventing foreclosure by providing a pre-foreclosure review period for those behind on their mortgage. That would restrict loan services from initiating foreclosures until 2022. Middle East. Dubai becomes El Dorado of the Middle East with gold boom. For more than a century, traders have traveled to Dubai souks in search of spices, pearls, and gold. With such heavy trade, Dubai came to be known as the City of Gold. In the first 9 months of 2020, gold trade in the country was valued at 41 billion euros, according to Dubai Customs. It is the city's most lucrative export after oil. Dubai has taken advantage of its geographical position by creating gold vaults, jewelry, manufacturing facilities, and refineries. 12 female models face 6 months in jail in Dubai for posing nude. A dozen women have been detained by Dubai police after posing for a nude photo shoot on a balcony in the city center of Sunday afternoon in a broad daylight. Under local law, they face up to 6 months behind bars. Prince Hamza, charged with sedition. Charges against Prince Hamza of Jordan, half-brother of King Abdullah II, are officially unveiled. The Jordanian Prime Minister Ayman Safadi has informed that he is accused of sedition and of wanting to destabilize the country with foreign interference, looking for the most appropriate moment to break the security of Jordan. Some 16 people have so far been arrested in connection with this case. India on the threshold of a promising future. The Indian manufacturing industry is likely to be on the threshold of a multi-year period of growth that will enable margin profits and return of assets to recover. This should encourage the start of a new investment cycle. India may complete construction of world's tallest railway bridge by year-end. Indian Railways on Monday said it completed construction of the steel arc of the iconic Chenab railway bridge, which will be the world's tallest railway bridge after it is completed in 2022. The 1,350-meter long bridge is being built after a height of 359 meters. Once completed, it will be the highest railway bridge in the world and 35 meters higher than the Eiffel Tower. Spain. Brussels warns Sanchez of damage from the Google tax alone. The European Commission has warned Pedro Sanchez and other European governments planning a tax on Google alone of the damage it will do to the internal market. Spanish banks to cut 17,000 jobs this year. All large and medium-sized banks except Bankinter, CaixaBank and Abanca have announced job cuts or are about to do so. Rural Spain is rambling out of bank branches. Rural Spain is gradually running out of bank branches, following the continuous adjustment process carried out by the sector since the beginning of the last financial crisis. In addition, the cuts have not ended, and another significant cutback is expected in the coming years due to the need to increase operational savings and the rise of digitalization after the health crisis. China says aircraft carrier group exercising near Taiwan. A Chinese aircraft carrier group is exercising near Taiwan, and such drills will become regular. The Chinese Navy said late Monday in a new escalation of tensions near the island that Beijing claims as its sovereign territory. A U.S. aircraft carrier returns 2 months later to the disputed South China Sea. The grouping will conduct flight and anti-submarine operations, as well as naval strikes exercise and other tactical training. In those waters claimed by countries such as China, Vietnam and the Philippines, for the second time in the last 2 months, the USS Theodore Roosevelt carrier strike group entered the South China Sea to conduct routine operations. Accompanied Chinese ship group sails into Pacific. A group of Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy ships, led by the aircraft carrier Liaoning and accompanied by the guided missile destroyer Type 055 Nanchang, sailed through the Miyako Strait, located between Japan's Miyako and Okinawa Islands, into the Pacific Ocean last Saturday, reports the Global Times. Russia wants that a deployment of short and medium-range missiles would force it to react. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova on Monday criticized announcements by Pentagon representatives of the deployment of short and medium-range missiles in different regions of the world. Putin signs a law that could keep him in the Kremlin until 2036. Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a law that could keep him in office in the Kremlin until 2036, the government said Monday. The legislation allowed him to run for 2 more 6-year terms after this current term ends in 2024. It followed changes to the constitution last year. Russia warns of anti-white aggression in U.S. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned Thursday that the anti-white racism could be growing in the U.S. and said political correctness taken to the extreme would have regrettable consequences. Curious news, bizarre news. Texas moves to ban highly controversial critical race theory, which teaches that all whites are racist, bigots, and supremacists. The state of Texas is pushing back big time against race baiters and race hustlers with an initiative to ban one of the most controversial curricula in the nation's history, critical race theory. Godzilla vs. King Kong gets Hollywood excited again. Warner Bros. Has got its biggest box office hit ever with this new film. There was a year without summer, and a volcano was to blame. That year, 1816, was an atypical year, so much so that historians christened it as the year without summer due to the particularly low temperatures recorded in the northern hemisphere. The Tambora volcano, located on the island of Sumbawa, Indonesia, was to blame. Mars also trembles. The InSight probe, which is currently on the surface of Mars, has detected 2 earthquakes of significant magnitude during the month of March. Michio Kaku says contacting extraterrestrials would be a terrible idea. The scientist believes that the launch of the Webb telescope, the most powerful telescope ever built, will help in the search of extraterrestrial civilizations. Michio Kaku, American professor of theoretical physics and famous popularizer of science, told The Guardian newspaper that he doesn't consider contacting possible extraterrestrial civilizations to be a good idea, although he doesn't rule out that it may be possible to do so in the near future. Thanks a lot, dear friends.